What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I'm going to be going over a solo flawless run of the Ghost of the Deep dungeon. I'm using the Insurmountable Skullfort build, so I actually made a build video on this saying it's the new best solo flawless dungeon build, because in my opinion it is. It doesn't have the greatest damage potential. I think Warlocks and then Hunters are probably the king. The reason Warlocks are so good is because now with Transcendent, you can have Echo of Dominance, and when you pop Transcendence, you get numerous grenades that are able to apply Weaken, and then also Song of Flame is crazy good, and then this season, just with like the Nova Bomb buffs and Expanding Abyss, it's really, really good. But as far as just an ease of use loadout, nothing is really easier in the game than this build if there's lots of enemies around. And that is because Insurmountable Skullfort allows us to basically take out every single enemy just with our abilities, any low tier enemy anyways, and then that is going to save on ammo big time. So yeah, here I actually lose my melee, which was stupid, because yeah, just the smoke from the wizard, and yeah, just couldn't see any enemies. For the most part, as long as you're smart, you won't lose it. I have a Pugilist sidearm on in the aberrant action, and then so if I lose it, I can just get some kills, and you'll see if the weapon level hadn't covered the screen, you can see I have most of my melee back. And then also, if you do lose your melee because you missed an enemy or you meleeed a high health target and didn't kill it, then you can pop Prismatic, and that will give you your melee ability back. So basically, yeah, you always have access to your melee with this build, and like I said, here you can just see it demolishes everything. And then we have the Twilight Arsenal super, which, as you'll see, is really good for taking out these guys. Yeah, it kind of spawned late, but whatever. So yeah, basically we have to do this 4 times, which is an absolute freaking slog when you're solo. Nothing about this dungeon, in my opinion, is very hard if you have the right build, like using this build. This dungeon is strictly a war of attrition, and to be honest, I hate running this solo. This will probably be the last time I ever run it solo. It is just so fucking boring. The traversal is way too long. The pacing in this dungeon as a solo is absolutely awful. You can speed up the final boss room, and even this first boss room, really nicely in a team, because one guy can be getting the runes while the other guys are up top getting the, killing the wizards. So then they can dunk the vestiges, one guy can run Arbalest to break the shield, and then the other 2 can have like good DPS stuff on. Yeah, so in a team, this isn't a bad dungeon at all, but I hate the traversal. This is 4 sections, so we just got done 1 rune. This should be 3, not 4. I don't know why the designers made this 4, but anyways, they did. So yeah, you kind of just have to get used to the route. Like, this is an hour and 10-minute clear, and like, I do the mechanics fairly quickly, as you'll see. So for most people, this is going to be like an hour-and-a-half long dungeon. Though on a Warlock, I think you could shave off a phase on each of the bosses, as I'll get to when we get to the bosses. But yeah, this thing just goes on forever. So right now, yeah, we're just going to the runes, and then you just have to pay attention to what the symbol is. And like I said, nothing's really hard. Like, I've got double rocket sidearm, so these things hit like a truck, and they take enemies out really quickly. So that symbol that it just showed, I call divide. So I'm just going to start to speed this up, and I'm going to do a lot of speeding up in this dungeon because, like I said, it's a slog, and I just kind of want to talk about the build and just some things to make it easier if you're going for a solo flawless. So yeah, here we can see the build is so good. We've got knockout on, so when we get a melee kill, we're getting all our health back. And then Insurmountable Skullfort, it gives your melee back, but it also does trigger health regeneration, but we don't really need the trigger since knockout is just giving everything back. And then we have Diamond Lance, as you can see, and you'll see in the first boss room, Diamond Lances come in really clutch. They're very underrated in my opinion. I really like Diamond Lance. So here's another annoying thing. The next wizard doesn't spawn once you hit the rune. You have to let your deep sight or whatever go away, and then it spawns. Which is just a thing. It's like, why? Why the delay? Like, this freaking encounter takes way too long anyways. So now we're going to the next thing. So again, I'm just going to speed it up. I call that symbol ice cream. So I do one shot with the sidearm to break the shield, and then I can melee. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. But yeah, the aesthetics of this dungeon, super good. I love hive themes. I think the dungeon looks great. But everything else about this dungeon, I do not like for solos. I think it's just a trash dungeon for solo play. The shields on the bosses either limit your loadout or make you just waste damage on nothing. And then, like I said, the mechanics take way too long to do solo, especially the final boss room. So yeah, this is literally just, all this is time consuming. Like I said, I don't find this dungeon difficult whatsoever. I really don't. I died on the boss because I was so bored being an hour in that I forgot to dunk my vestige. I literally like ran out, killed everything, forgot to dunk the vestige, and then I just went to get another vestige, and I was like, oh shit, my timer. And by the time I got back, I missed it by like 1 or 2 seconds. And that was literally just because this is such a monotonous, boring ass, shitty dungeon. Sorry I'm so negative. This dungeon is trash. Get your solo flawless emblem once and never worry about it again. So there you can see I missed a melee, and this is what I was talking about with Prismatic that can give it to you back. That guy kind of sidestepped my melee, so I pop Prismatic, you get it back instantly. And that's basically what I use Prismatic for on this build, is just for getting our melee back. And then on damage phases, it's nice because you get a 5% increase to your weapon damage while in Transcendent. So here we finally kill that last ogre because he takes a day and a half to spawn, because, I don't know, Bungie was probably super obsessed with playtime metrics when they were dreaming up this dungeon. So we're taking everything out. Again, I miss a melee. I don't know, something about that smoke, I just can't see where they are, and you can't rotate your screen very quickly. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I was missing melees, which was dumb. But again, Pugilist on the sidearm is really nice as a last resort. We use our super, and thank God we're on our way back for the last part. So we go back. You can take out this wizard super easily just with like literally whatever. Just keep getting melees. I also have on the facet that when you pick up an orb, it gives you a whatchamacallit. Basically like a verb that is associated with your super subclass. So if I had Solar on, I would get Restoration for picking up an orb. But because we have Twilight Arsenal, we're actually getting Void Overshield. And that really helps with survivability. Yeah, this build is like the most survivable thing in the game because we pick that up. We get Void Overshield, which I think is 50% damage resistance and a bump to our health. And then we have Galvanic Armor. So we're pretty much always amplified because we're always getting Thunderclap kills. So that's making us amplified. So I think that's 30% damage resist. And then Faceted Protection as well. So when we're surrounded, we're getting damage resistance. So yeah, see, you can see it on the left, Faceted Protection. And then you have basically Devour every time you get a melee kill. It just gives you all your health back, like right there. So like I said, super survivable, super good. It's nice being amplified for the speed. So I'm just going to speed this part up because like I said, this traversal is ungodly long. I despise this. Season of the Deep was my least favorite season I think I've ever played. Yeah, I honestly think that. I made my season tier list and I might have ranked it a bit higher just for like its offerings. But for me personally, it was the lowest artifact season I ever had. Yeah, just not a fun season. This is not a fun dungeon. Yeah, just brutal in my opinion. So anyways, hopefully you can still see the path if you need to know the pathing. But yeah, I'm just speeding this up. because it's extremely boring and you're not really going to learn much. But I will give a couple tips. So not here, but coming up. So you can run by a lot of these ads, which you will want to do because this dungeon is very, very boring. So the quicker you can get it done, the better. So yeah, all these ads don't really pose much of a threat if you know how to move. So simply just run on by them. So there, you want to jump just to be safe. And then the game can also eat your jump. So I kind of slow down and then I kind of inch up there and then I jump right off the edge. Because like I said, sometimes the game will eat your jump and you just fall to your death. I remember when I was attempting my first solo flawless, I died. I will show you where I died. But yeah, just something to be aware of. So there we get a melee kill. Now we're amplified. Like I said, we have our Void Overshield for a bit. And then we're just going to skip all these enemies as well. So here's how I like to do it. I go over here. Be careful if you're using an Eager Edge sword because it will lock onto those wizards. So I don't even bother using my Eager Edge until I'm well past them. And then I do an Eager. Because if you lock onto them, it's going to pull you out into no man's land and you could fall to your death there. So that's another tip. So here is where the game can eat your jump. It can eat your jump on this rock or the next rock. And this is where it ate mine in my solo flawless. I can't remember if it was this one or the last one, but yeah, it's one of these rocks. And anyway, you just have to be very careful of your jump. Also, get your mobility as high as you can if you're on whatever build you're running, because it does help you move through the water more quickly, which is really nice on this upcoming boss, Ekthar, because you have to run away from him. So yeah, the higher mobility you have, the better it'll be. So here we're Radiant, and yeah, just look at the work these rocket sidearms do. And then the ad clear, boom. So my first solo flawless on this dungeon was on Solar Titan, and I was using the Bonk build. And that's why I said this build is actually better than Bonk, because you can also have access to Weaken if you're running Facet of Dominance and Suppressor Grenades. Also, Twilight Arsenal can Weaken, so it's better than Solar for those reasons. But then also your melee, it doesn't have a cooldown like Bonk does now. The throwing hammer has like a 1.5 second cooldown when you pick up the hammer or whatever. So this can be spammed like constantly. And the Bonk hammer, yes, it can make sunspots, so you might get a bit of ad clear, but basically it's a single target hit, where Thunderclap can take out mass ads at a time. So that's why I like this build. And then you have Radiant, which you do have on Solar with Ember of Torches. But yeah, it's just nice to be able to get Radiant on this one too with Facet of Dawn. So yeah, this build, like I said, it's not the highest damaging, but it does very respectable damage. And you'll make up time doing mechanics. So like the mechanics of this fight and the boss fight are so simple. Because like I said, you rarely ever have to use your weapons. So here I swapped to a Cornered Surrounded Midas Reckoning. But any arc fusion rifle will do. And then we've got triple arc surge on our boots. And then I've got one arc reserves. And yeah, we are going to use Legend of Acrius. So this is a melee based build, obviously. So we can be proccing Radiant every time we do our melee. And we will proc Trench Barrel. So it's really good. So right there, you can see that our melee cannot kill those guys. But then again, I just pop my Transcendence, I get my melee right back. The Diamond Lance allows these guys to take much more damage. So that's another reason I really like the Diamond Lance. It just kind of supplements your damage. So if we throw it on this Ogre, and when he explodes, look, he's like already half and I barely had to use any weapon or any ammo. So just like that, everything's cleared out. So that's what I mean when I say like, the damage is respectable, but for doing mechanics and stuff, it's like so good. So for me, that's where I always like to drop down. It's consistent. I know where the runes are in relation to that drop down. So I always drop down there, and then I basically just run in a circle to the runes I need. So if you know the runes better, and know where the drop downs take you, you can drop where will make most sense and where will be the quickest. But for me, I always drop there and I just do a big circle. And yeah, basically you just have to keep moving because that boss chases you. And I can't remember what I was looking for. Yeah, the table with the dots. So there we get it. We go back up. And now we have to take out the wizards. So again, this is what I was saying. So cornered, surrounded, boom. Two-shot the wizard. Very, very easy. Because for some reason, I guess that's one crappy thing. You can like get your melee kill. Look at that. So the Diamond Lance, it will make shatter damage when you shatter it. And then also I had Radiant and triple Arc Surge, so I was able to one-shot that wizard after I froze it. So again, this build is super good just for getting 2 damage phases. It's just like so fast. And now look, I've got pretty much full Void Overshield. And you kind of want that before you start your fight with the boss. So here, I'm just getting some kills. I've got triple hands-on. Sorry, I've got double hands-on the helmet and triple heavy-handed on the gloves. So every time I'm getting a melee kill, I'm making an orb, which is really good because the orbs, we've got Radiant orbs. So when we pick up an orb power, we're getting Radiant. And then, like I said, we're always making orbs, so that's giving us 10 seconds of Radiant. And here's what I mean. So we cast our super every time right off the bat. So that's going to weaken him and take his overshield down. And then we just go in with Legend of Acreus. So then we can pick up the relic, reapply weaken. So now we're doing 15% more damage. We've got Radiant going, we've got triple Arc Surge, and we're always proccing Trench Barrel. So look at the chunks on this boss. This is a pretty tanky boss, but we do some really nice damage there. So he's definitely 4-phaseable, but I think I get screwed on the second phase. You'll see what I mean. So I did wind up having to 5-phase. But yeah, it also depends on like the ammo drops you're getting and whatever. So Acreus is pretty good on ammo. And then if you do have to use your fusion rifle, I've got a good fusion rifle as well. So there we got suppressed. So that's kind of the one thing that will hurt you in this fight, is if you get suppressed, because obviously our melee is the engine of this entire build. But again, you can see, take out the 3 knights with total ease, take out the ogre, and now we're back to the running phase. So once you're on the running phase, like I said, I always drop to the same spot. I know where the runes are. We're just gonna run around here. Touch that, and we're out. So that's an easy circle one. And then I saw I have heavy ammo down there, so that's nice. I can save that for when I need it. And then a heavy brick just dropped, so yeah, I was getting pretty lucky on heavy ammo on this run, but Acreus overall is pretty good on ammo. So there, again with the Diamond Lance, cornered, surrounded, all the buffs. There, I missed one bolt, otherwise we would have one-shot. But yeah, like I said, you can just see how quickly this build gets through the mechanics. That's really why I wanted to do this solo flawless, was to basically just show off this build and do it under Prismatic. Like I said, this is probably the last time I will do a solo flawless Ghost of the Deep, just because I don't like doing it. But I did want to see how it plays with Prismatic, and I thought this build would be really fun. So again, we've got all our armor charges up. We don't need any loadout swaps or nothing because we're just constantly making orbs. So then we're just running our surges on our boots. So yeah, no loadout swaps required. Dunk that last vestige. We know this guy's coming. So right here, I go up and I get suppressed out of my super. So that was super unfortunate. So we take out his shield with our fusion rifle. But yeah, so I lost out on quite a bit of damage there because I got suppressed, so I was kind of scrambling. And yeah, we get a pretty nice recovery, but it still sucked because we miss out on some damage from our super. And yeah, it just kind of threw our rhythm off. So the big trick, so I do have powerful attraction on my class item, and I should have just been using my thruster to pick up those orbs that the enemies drop. The reason I'm trying to pick up the orbs is then that's 10 seconds of Radiant. just so that I'm sure I'm always getting Radiant on every one of my my Acreus shots. So that's why I was doing that, but yeah. I didn't need to be, so I probably missed out on like one shot of damage there. But even with that, you can see the boss's health is still just over 50%. So if I didn't get unlucky there with the super, we'd be on pace for a 4 phase. But things seldom go to plan in this game. And like I said, this is still a really good loadout regardless. You 4 phase or 5 phase. But yeah, I think a 4 phase is pretty good. But the average player might be looking at like a 5 phase on this boss in today's sandbox. So I'm not sure. I know Bungie made a lot of changes with like the surges and power deltas and all these things. I think they said we're doing more damage now, but I kind of disagree. So yeah, if anyone knows what the changes actually are and how they're affecting us in game, let me know down in the comments. But I've done a lot of solo dungeons, and with how strong we should be with Prismatic, I'm actually shocked at yeah, just the amount of damage we're doing to these bosses. Oh, maybe we're -5 now, or is that only in raids? That might only be in raids. But anyway, we don't feel as strong as I would have expected. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's like, I think my solo flawless dungeon last season on this was like just over an hour, and this one's like an hour and 10 with Prismatic and all the stuff that it offers. Even though last season we did have solo operative, so maybe that's why I'm a bit skewed, because everything I was doing solo last season, we did have just a base 15% increase in damage. But yeah, I don't know. We don't feel as strong as I would have expected since all those changes that they made. So here, again, I've got a bit of Void Overshield. We throw our little Jolt Grenade, pop Prismatic for that extra weapon damage. And here we get a nice quick kill. And then we're able to get our full super off on the boss this time. And you can see that third axe that hits actually chunks him a bit. So, like I said, it's good if you can get your full super off, obviously, because it takes out the shield and then some. There we had lost Weaken, so I quickly pick up the axe, and then we're able to apply some Weaken. So yeah, we're doing like, I saw 179,000 on one of the shots. So yeah, you can see this build, it's absolutely wrecking this boss. So right there, that should be a 4 phase, like with the amount of damage I did there. But I think I don't get it for some reason, so I can't remember exactly what I did wrong. But yeah, even with that scuffed second phase, I should have been good, so I must have screwed something up on the next phase here. So I'm just speeding this up because it's all literal rinse repeat. Take out the 3 knights, take out the ogres, check your symbols, go down low, run the symbols, come up, kill the wizards, dunk the vestiges, start damage. So, like I say in all my videos, if you're attempting a solo flawless, obviously do the dungeon so you know the mechanics. But then after that, do a clear solo so that you can practice the strats that you want to use. That's another important thing. Is just getting used to, yeah, the rotations and just everything. Because you just pick stuff up just from playing. Things that you wouldn't even pick up from a video, even with commentary. Like, I can say most of what I know, but I might be forgetting something. And then, yeah, you'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that this is how it works or whatever. Like, for instance, I'm at Vestige of Light ×2. Like, I could dunk those and get rid of them. But if you're holding them at 0, you will die. And look, I get that third one. It doesn't reset the timer or anything. So this is the way I do it. Dunk all 3 at once. But if you want to dunk 1 at a time, you absolutely can do that. And it's probably the safer way to do it. It's just, this is the way I've always done it. And this is how I do it. But again, to each their own. And you'll find what works for you. So my weapons are loaded. I'm going to get a little more overshield here. Didn't pick up the orb. There we go. Now we got the orb. We got full void overshield. That's just for protection from the boss because he throws those shields. But yeah. So we're going to take this guy out. I'm a little slow on that, so let's see what goes on here. My one axe slightly misses. Oh, I get booped by him. So that slows me down a bit. Oh, and then I pick up a diamond lance instead of the axe. That sucks. But yeah, right here, I should be going in. Yeah. Oh, and then I freaking pick up another diamond lance. So yeah, that is one crappy thing about the diamond lances. I was trying to pick up the axes, but the axe like despawned just as I had got that axe. So yeah, then I miss out on the 4-phase. So if I didn't pick up those 2 diamond lances, easy 4-phase there. Like very, very easy. That is super unfortunate that that happened. And that's just, yeah. I still like running the diamond lances. I've talked about like why they're good and stuff, but there, it actually hurt me. So if you don't want to run diamond lances, you can totally run whatever you like to. But yeah, that's very, very close. And that's because I had a really crappy damage phase there. And I got suppressed out of my super the one time. Oh, right here. So he boops me. So I purposely stopped because I knew he was close to me. And I thought he was going to boop me into the bubble. Well, look, he boops me right by it. And then I almost die here. So I'm 1 tick away from death there. So that is a strategy you can use because when he boops you, if you go through the bubble, you're going to get that pressure resistance right back because he takes out a bunch of pressure resistance when he hits you. But unfortunately, the way he hit me scooted me right by the bubble and it almost cost me. So that would have been very, very annoying. But yeah, just another thing to know. But if he is right on you, don't pick up that bubble if he's about to hit you. Wait right by the bubble and then hopefully he hits you into the bubble. There, like I said, I just got unlucky with the angle that he hit me at and I just missed it. And again, which almost cost me. So here's where the jolt grenades are nice. Look at that. Just throw a jolt grenade on. We get 2 wizards down really easily. But look at the ammo economy. I guess I'm low on Acreus now, but through the whole fight, my ammo was like really, really good. And then this fusion rifle does pretty respectable damage in all honesty, even on the boss. So if you did get a rotation where you weren't getting lucky with heavy drops, then you do have that fusion rifle ammo to do at least some damage on your damage phase. And yeah, there's like Strand, Titan, 1-2 punch, grapple, melee builds and stuff like that. But I wanted to use Prismatic on all the solo flawlesses this season because that's the new stuff. And yeah, that's why I'm running what I'm running. So there, I didn't have a pulse grenade ready yet, but it doesn't really matter. All we got to do is get to damage here and he's dead. But yeah, if you can be quick on your super, that would be helpful because as you can see, once he moves up, then he's an idiot to deal with. So we got a little low on health there, and I think I might have been suppressed, but I just did my regular melee, and that can proc knockout still, and that will give you your health back with just a regular melee. So now I'm switching to my boss damage loadout, which is Whisper of the Worm with Succession, and then I use an auto rifle in the boss room, but I have this nullified pulse rifle on for the wizard part, because the wizards have overshields, and these pulses are just really good for dealing with them at a distance. So this part, the traversal is a little less. I always like looking at this big giant whale thing. Is that Asa? I don't know. It might be. But yeah, I just love like deep sea life and stuff. It's so cool. So you'd think I would have liked Season of the Deep, but I did not. I don't like things that slow me down, and running through the water is very monotonous and annoying. So we freeze those guys, and then you can see it just takes them all out really, really easily. So this part, you do have to be careful when the wizards spawn behind you. I remember when I was first attempting my solo flawless, they spawned behind me and I forgot. And I had to turn around. And anyway, I wound up dying. So don't forget about that. Here, I'm switching to Sniper's Meditation and Incendiary Rifle Rounds and Solar Fulmination. So that is going to allow our Whisper to hit even harder on the final boss, which is awesome. So yeah, see, you can take out the solar shields and then just body shot the wizards. So yeah, this strat works really nice for me. Once they got a little closer, I just used the pulse rifle just to kind of show it off. It's very, very good. You can 3-shot with Whisper on the Shriekers, which is nice. So yeah, this part, don't sleep on it. Like, this part can mess you up, honestly. I've died here multiple times before. So you just have to, honestly, just take your time and be patient and just be safe. So like I said, I really recommend a pulse rifle. So right here, I think, is where the wizards spawn. So I go to run back, but I didn't realize they spawned like that far back. Like they're to my left still. So yeah, I've got heal clip on this, and that was for a specific purpose. That's because I know these guys shoot. So that's what messed me up. The wizards were fine, but then that knight on the other side started shooting me. So then I just run all the way back to deal with this last wizard, because those knight boomer blasts deal a lot of damage. And you could see how much damage I was taking there. That's one thing with this build. It might lull you into a sense of security that you don't actually have, because you're used to always having galvanic armor when you're amplified. You're used to having a void overshield more often than not. So when those things go away, it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually squishy in this game. Facet of protection, it's pretty much always up. But right there, I was taking a lot of damage on that platform. So that's why I ran back. So here, again, just be very careful with your jumps. Jump to there. And then, yeah, we can use our melee to take out the little guys. Use our super for this big guy. And then we're off to the boss. So yeah, that part isn't very bad at all now, because again, our melees can pretty much take everything out. Then we drop down here. We throw on the auto rifle. And the keen-eyed viewers may notice that I put on a suppressor grenade. And that is for the, whatchamacallits. What are those knights? Sorry, the Lucent Hive. You can suppress, like, especially the knight with his void, whatchamacallit, his void sentinel throws. They can really hurt you. So yeah, being able to suppress him out of that is really nice. And even the hunter, I guess with any of them. But yeah, the suppressor grenade's nice, but the crappy thing with it, I do have facet of dominance, so it will also weaken. But the crappy thing with it is that it's hard to hit this boss. Like, you can't really apply weaken mid damage phase, which kind of sucks. But you'll notice I'm running around and I'm taking out the knights. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about that more on the next rotation. Exactly like what you want to do in this rotation. But yeah, basically you start with the moths, then you take out the knights, then you reveal the pattern, and then you start killing the knight in those spots. So every time you do a reveal like I just did, then the boss is going to spawn moths. Do not forget about that, because those moths will mess you up. A lot of moths are attracted to the enemies, and they will just go to the enemy to give them an overshield, like that knight just had. But the moths that the boss spawns there, they seek you out. They do not go to the acolytes and stuff. So you have to take them out, because if you get hit by like more than one of them, you're probably dead. They really, really hurt. So here, I think you always have to finish with the chest. I don't know if you always have to, but I always do. So then again, as soon as you complete the connection, then it's going to spawn moths. You take out the moths. This summoner I have, it also has heal clip, which, not that I'm getting many weapon kills, but again, just for survivability in your build. Again, this is a solo flawless, so you're going to want to use that. So now we go back here. And we complete our pattern. So after the last pattern completion, you're good to go. There's no more moths that spawn. So here, what I'm looking at is I'm checking. So I want to do damage at division. That's the top hand over here. So I make note of that, because you can dunk in whatever order you want these vestiges. So I say to myself, okay, division last. So if I come over here and he had the division symbol, which he does, I'm going to turn around and go kill a different Lucent Hive. The reason I want to end at division is because I've got Sleeper on. Or sorry, Sleeper. That's what I used to run. I've got Whisper on. And yeah, basically that's a very good spot to shoot from because you have cover with the hand. So you have a good look at the wizard. And that just comes kind of with experience and knowing where the best spots are to do damage on this boss. Head is pretty nice. And hand. Those are my two favorites. And then, like I said, you'll just kind of get used to whatever. So there, make sure you check the symbol before you crush the ghost, because the symbol goes away, and now I have vestige of an acolyte. So this is what I was saying. I was just so freaking bored of running this shit over and over. I came out here, I had the vestige, I killed all these enemies, and then I forgot to dunk the vestige. I literally just straight up forgot. I was just killing stuff. And then I was like, okay, on to the next thing. And when I went to run to the other Lucent Hive, I realized I still had my timer. So there's two things you can do. If you have enough time, you can kill the other one, and that vestige will just take over the last vestige. Or you have to dunk it. But if your timer runs out, so there I had 17 seconds. But yeah, if your timer runs out, you're dead. So make sure you remember the symbol, and make sure you dunk it before your time is up. So now we're on to this wizard. So I like to come over here and take out these guys because they will shoot you from the side. And I'm using a sniper. So being shot in the side, I know they reduced flinch, but you still take it. And there you can see I was still missing some shots. So there, I checked the symbol, I crushed the thing. I have 1 minute to dunk my vestige. So we're just running. If you get a running start going into the water, it does kind of carry your momentum, and it's even better if you're amplified. So that's another nice thing, but like I said, your mobility will also increase your movement through the water. So here we're taking out a bunch of the enemies, we reveal the thing. You can't even see how long you have deep sight for, because it is only a finite amount of time, so you only have so long to dunk after you check that thing. So again, this is where this build is so nice, because you can take out all the enemies so quickly, so you're never really pressed for time on dunking the vestige or any of that stuff. So what I should have done was killed all those enemies that were still in the room, because now when I come back there's going to be even more enemies, and I was just saying you need to kill everything quick enough so that you still have your vestige timer. So here I want to show the suppression. So there we suppress him, and then we can actually one-shot him because of Facet of Dominance giving the weaken. So that deals with that guy super, super easily. So again, that's why I wanted to do this build, because I knew it would be so freaking good in this dungeon, because the Titan kit is just like really, really good for everything that this dungeon throws at you. Other than suppression nades not being able to hit the boss while the boss is like floating. And you can use the suppression nades on the second boss, but I found it wasn't really worth it to take the time to throw that at your feet, because you can suppress yourself, which is dangerous, and then that's gonna screw you more than anything, because then you're gonna have trouble proccing Trench Barrel on that boss, because you don't have access to your melees because you're suppressed. So I just took it off so that I didn't wind up accidentally suppressing myself. So here we want to take out all the ads. Now we get the deep sight, and look, there's still ads up. So this one was really, really close, and I just had to leave that guy. So I get there with 1 second, and now I'm popping the thing. But ideally, and then also my freaking axe misses. But yeah, these Thrall, you actually do want them to push you, because this is going to give you Radiant and fill up your armor charge. So the Thrall pushing you is fine, but you want to kill all the Acolytes before damage. So now all 6 Thrall are dead, because there's 2 sets of 3 Thrall that spawn. And yeah, once you take them out with your melee, then you go in on the boss. Or you can take them out, take like 3 in a group, and then the other ones will rush you, and then you melee them again and take the last ones out. But yeah, basically you just want to make sure that you're hitting your shots. So there, that's pretty good damage with Whisper. I wasn't shooting at full fire rate. I don't click and hold. I make sure I'm always going to make my shot. So here, what did I forget? I forgot the moths. Oh, maybe they hadn't spawned yet. Never mind. So I took that knight out really quickly before the moths even spawned. But yeah, once you're done damage, remember that those moths are coming and make sure you focus on them. So then, like I said, once the moths are dead, now I'm taking out these 3 knights that are around the field. There's one on the left, one in the middle, one in the right. Then once they're dead, that's when I'm going to focus on this pattern. So I reveal the last pattern, freeze them, one-shot them with the sniper. So this is Reconstruction Vorpal on Succession from Deepstone Crypt. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game. I've had it for ages. So now we know the pattern. So we've got the other hand, and we've got the knee, and then it always ends with chest. So here I'm going to want to use the hand, again because it's furthest from the boss, and we can use the hand as a bit of cover. So that's why I like using that. So then once we do this, the moths are going to spawn. In the meantime, we're just taking out ads. Moths spawn. That's why auto rifles are really, really nice in here. I used the Amit in the past, but the summoner is better thanks to heal clip. And I have golden tricorn, so that's nice. But yeah, just use whatever you want really, but something solar if you are going to use whisper, because then it at least matches your weapon surge, so you're getting 22% more damage. So we connected one of the things. Now this guy's rolling up on us. Snipe him in the face a couple times. Now we're going to connect the other one. And then after the connection is made, again, we have to focus on those moths. So we back up here. Make the connection. Moths are spawning. So yeah, there, if you're in the air at all, you can't do a thunderclap. I'll show it again. Look, I'm just doing a regular melee. So I'm trying to do a charge melee, but I was slightly airborne. So that's something to be aware of with this build. So those guys actually got way too close to me. So that was pretty reckless what I did there. But yeah, just be safe, back up when you take out those moths, because they got up on me pretty quickly. Because a lot of times when you shoot them, kind of the AoE takes the other ones out, but that didn't happen there. So again, I'm going to want to finish at hand. So I'm going to pay attention to what the hand symbol is. And then that's going to be my last symbol that I'm going to get. That way, as soon as I start damage, I can throw my super. So there, I messed up. I missed that guy. So that's the table with the lines. So that is the symbol I want for last. So I just leave all those ads because it doesn't really matter. So here we have Ice Cream. I procced Transcendence because I had lost my melee. And there you can see these are boss type enemies. So if you freeze them, they don't actually like freeze. They'll take like freeze damage and shatter damage, but they don't freeze. And then same with the suspend. That Transcendent Grenade can suspend targets, but it did not suspend that knight. So again, just something to be aware of, that they are boss types. So now we have our vestige, 42 seconds, lots and lots of time. We're just going to clean up some enemies and then go dunk it. Because again, you only have your deep sight for so long. And if you don't have your deep sight, you can't dunk. So yeah. And Bungie really has to figure out moving like those timers to under your health bar or something. So you can see the stuff that's relevant to you. Like pressure resistance, I think that should be under the timer probably. Though it probably prioritizes. So right here, I come in, I see the symbol. Table with lines, that's where I want to finish. So now I'm dipping. I don't know if there's a way to predict where the symbols are. I think it's always random, but if anyone knows, not that it's a big time loss so that I ran in there and then I have to run out, but when you're doing this so often, it'd be nice if you knew like where the symbols were going to be, but we don't, so, or at least I don't. So anyways, again, we suppressed them, but the boss was still able to shoot at us. Again, that's because it's a boss type enemy. Take out the rest of the ads. Division is the symbol, so we're going to run out. We've got our vestige. Division is mid, so that's perfect. I used to start in mid, but you definitely don't want to with this build. So now there's a bunch of enemies on the field. I'm going to try to take a bunch of them out before I go get my last vestige. That's why I stop here, turn around, take the rest out. Now we're good. I think there's one enemy up still, but whatever. So now we come over here. And then I'm always meleeing these guys. So again, we can make a Diamond Lance, which gives us additional damage. It gives us Radiant so that we can take them out quickly. One crit, one body kills him because he was weakened. Plus we had Radiant and all that stuff. So now we have the Vestige. And again, we're constantly making orbs. So that's constantly giving us armor charge. So we're never worried about having to stack up our armor charges for weapon surge going into damage. It's just never even an issue. Where on some builds, it's like, oh crap, I gotta get a double kill with my Solar Siphon before damage here. But this, you don't have to worry about that. So again, I want all the Acolytes dead. That's priority 1. The Thrall are kind of fine, they're whatever, because they'll actually chase at me, which I want. So there, I don't know what I'm doing, why I didn't take those Acolytes out. So yeah, I kind of screwed up a little bit here. But, see, yeah. This Acolyte is going to be a problem. Oh, I lost my melee. Yeah. So yeah, kind of scuffed at the start of damage here. But, like I said, your knockout can proc an orb. So we have Radiant. So look how hard we're hitting with Radiant. 106,000 to the head. That's massive. And then their Radiant goes away. So now we're only almost 85,000. But again, we're far from the boss. I'm pacing my shots, making sure I hit them. So yeah, we had a pretty scuffed start, especially because I didn't have my Thunderclap. But like I said, this hand is a really good spot to do damage from. So we wound up getting a really nice damage rotation off, even though it took us a few seconds to like get there. But yeah, if you're running Whisper, you have to make sure all the enemies are dead. So I should have killed those Acolytes at the start. Here the moths are coming up on me. So I should have killed the Acolytes at the start. And then I would have just had the Thrall to deal with. And yeah, I could have just meleeed them to death. But instead I still had those Acolytes up. So yeah, a little bit of a time loss. Probably could have got like 2 more shots off if I had taken out those Acolytes to begin with. But it is what it is. So now that those moths are dead, we're doing our rotation to the Knights. And yeah, Diamond Lance is just so nice because it freezes them in place, making them really easy to deal with. Here we get very close to death because I didn't have like all my DR and all that stuff up. So now that the Knights are dead, we're going to run over and we are going to proc our Deep Sight. We get the pattern, take him out, line up our orb. Perfect. Take out the moths. Once the moths are dead, now we're going to the next symbol. Kill the guy in the green. We got the green on the floor, makes the thingy. Now we're running over here. Once we line that up, the moths are gonna appear. I'm getting my health back first. Pick up an orb. Take out all the moths. Very easy to do with an auto rifle. Now we have one left. He's right in front of us. So that was a super quick rotation. Again, I don't know if there's a build in the game that's going to allow you as a solo to line up those symbols that quickly. That was really, really good. So now I think I'm probably going to go foot here. I don't love foot for DPS. I way prefer the hands or the head, but that's just the RNG of this battle. So again, I'm checking my symbols. Where do I want to do damage from? We take a big jump on the way in, but we hit our head, but that was just to try to save momentum. It's a symbol that I want to finish at, so that was a waste of time. But now I know I'm finishing at that guy. We run over here, and then we're just going to rinse and repeat. So do our melee to get Radiant, Diamond Lance, and Suppressor Grenade. 2-shot him. Check the symbol again, it's division. And then we just get all our health back plus an overshield from our melee. So yeah, this build, crazy, crazy good. Now we're running it back. Take out a bunch of enemies. Get our Deep Sight. Deposit the Vestige. Rinse and repeat. That's all this is. So yeah, there was taking a bit of damage, so I just had to get out. This boss is all over the freaking place. This is the one crappy thing. If you don't want to run a sniper, you could absolutely run the call, which might actually be better because it's just like consistent to hit things with. And it's also strand, so it would help us get our prismatic back, or our transcendence, even quicker. But yeah, I was missing some shots there with my sniper. Another thing that's nice is, yeah, Whisper obviously has great total damage, but it's also got like very, very good ammo economy. Like you pick up a good amount per brick. So that's another thing I really liked about this loadout, where with Sleeper Simulant, it is very consistent to hit your crits. But at the end of like every damage phase, you're pretty much out of ammo. Where with Whisper, as long as you're hitting your shots, you're also getting a shot back every 3 shots. So yeah, super ammo efficient. But if you're not confident hitting your shots with it, your DPS is going to tank. Because if you're having to un-ADS often with it and reproc Whispered Breathing, then yeah, it absolutely kills your DPS. So these moths are just so annoying, man. Like I said, everything about this dungeon, massively annoying. Table with dots. So I think this is our last one. Yeah, so again, I have to finish at foot, which I don't like to do. There, I probably revealed a little too early. I should have taken these enemies out first before picking up my deep sight. Because as you can see, I've got a lot of these enemies to take out. But this is quicker than Bonk Hammer would have been for taking them out. So now we run over here. I wasn't sure what my timer was, so I still had that moth chasing me. But we get a really good super off. We finally hit all 3. And now look, these stupid Thrall, man. They're not pushing me. And I don't want to start damage until they're dead. So finally I'm just like, okay, whatever. I have to get in some damage while I have Radiant. I do miss a shot. Another one pushes me. Now we're good. So I don't know where the rest are. But, yeah, now he's up on me. So again, I have to un-ADS, take them out, take this guy out. So, like I said, I don't like foot that much in the first place, but also the enemies seem to act really wonky. The nice thing is, I was able to proc Radiant every time I un-ADS. So when I was doing damage, I was hitting like 106,000 per crit instead of like 89,000. So that was the one saving grace there. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. If they had came at me like in a group of 3 twice, that'd have been fine, because I could have taken them out, take out the group of 3, and then smack them. And then do some damage, and then when that other group of 3 comes up, I could have un-ADS'd, hit them, get Radiant again. But yeah, they were just all coming one at a time, which was super, super annoying. So here, I actually got in a little bit of trouble. But again, the freeze is so nice. And then we just had to run to cover. But for the most part, you don't even have to worry about playing cover. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have the whole chain going there. I didn't have galvanic armor. I didn't have all those things. And you could see just how much more damage I was taking because of that. So then we proc the pattern. This time we got head and hand. So 2 good options, where the last time we had really no good options. So for me, I prefer hand, just because head, sometimes when you're up there, the boss actually gets like out of your line of sight if it comes up too close to the chest. And that is obviously no good. So again, I just really prefer hand. And then I hate that right there. I was trying to line the symbol up, it wasn't lining up, and then I was taking a bunch of damage. Like, I could have easily just turned and killed them and tried again. But it's just annoying how it has to be, like, absolutely picture perfect to get it to go. And then this guy, when you have to do head, sometimes he runs around the entire fucking map. Like, what the hell is that? He could have just ran up at me. Now he's running way the hell over here. I don't know what that was. But anyways, also very annoying. Now watch when I pick up this brick. Boom. We're back up to full ammo. So that's a big reason I love Whisper. And now he's doing this shit again. Luckily I shot him and was able to stun him. But like, what the hell is that? Honestly, Bungie. I don't know why he does that. So we do our symbol, take out the moths. And now we're back to running. So So we got one more symbol, and then we will finish with table with dots, because that is where the hand is. We take this guy out. And now we're going to go check our symbols. So we do that. Again, on the final one, there's no moths. So this is the X. So there we hit our shots. Easily two-shot him. So yeah, it's not that running this sniper is bad per se. It's just the call, depending on what you prefer, could just be better. Then we come out. This one is going to get dunked at head. Taking out a ton of enemies. Again, you have, or I at least on this one, have a lot of time. I'm not in any huge rush. We get our imbuement. Now we take these guys, and we're going to hope we get the right symbol here, just to save us a bit of time. And lo and behold, we do. Table with the lines. So we take one out, get Radiant, get our Diamond Lance, and here I struggle on this guy just a little bit. So before, I could one-shot one body, but that's when he's weakened from our Suppressor Grenade. This one left him just with a bit of health. So that Facet of Dominance Suppressor Grenade does make a bit of a difference. So here we're just going to get an easy kill just to get some more armor charge, keep our stacks up. Again, not that it's a huge deal. The other annoying thing is this, where you reveal the deep sight, moves between the left, middle, and right as well. So sometimes if you were in a pinch and it's like over here, then you have to run over here, pick it up, and then run back to where the symbol is. So again, sometimes that timing can be tight, but with this build, I wasn't worried about it at all. So this time, I'm taking out all the enemies beforehand, because I know I'm going into the last one. And I'm like, okay, I want a really clean damage phase, so that we can get this 4 phase. So we smack him. That guy's in his super, so we're just kind of waiting him out, running around. I mess up the Suppressor Grenade, and then he actually pushes us. Because yeah, he likes to do that shit too. Just very annoying. But yeah, I kind of forgot the physics. It falls off there, and you kind of have to bounce Suppressor Grenades. So I messed that up a little bit. Anyway, we take him out, and now we have 1 minute, and as long as we can dunk our Vestige, we're gonna be good and get the solo clear. So, again, we need to take out all the enemies on our way to where we're going. Unfortunately, there's some behind me. It'd be nice if they all filed to where I'm going, so I don't have to chase them around. Finally, they did show up. We've still got 30 seconds. I'm going to take this moth out, just really taking our time, being safe. We've got an orb right in front of us. That's helping us tank some of those arc shots from the boss. And we're doing damage. So, of course, the boss with his wonky ass movement. Freaking thing, so annoying. This time, they all came at once. We even hit one shot while he was weakened, so that was nice. And then we still have Radiant, so yeah, we're doing big damage here. And again, pace your shots there, because the boss likes to move weird. And I still missed a shot, and then it chucked a grenade, and I missed another shot. Waiting for Whispered Breathing. So yeah, don't panic. It's like a 45-second damage phase. So yeah, just kind of take your time. Then we crush the ghost, and that is that. So yeah, anyways, that dungeon sucks. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and if you did, then a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. And if you're still here, thanks for watching to the end. Take care.